So I know that I am super late to the party with regard to this particular subject, and I'm sure that most of the excitement has already dissipated. Nonetheless, I still want to talk about this because this is a potential game changer. So as many of you know by now, Cenk Uygur of TYT announced that he is in fact running for Congress to represent California's 25th congressional district. So this is what he said after he made it official.
I will be running for Congress in California's 25th district. I'm going to represent those people in a way that they have not seen before. I will not be a standard politician. I will fight for them. I'm going to fight to get money out of politics, and I'm going to call it like it is. You know what campaign donations are from big corporations and lobbyists? Bribes. They're bribes when Republicans take them. They're also bribes when Democrats take them. I'm not going to take any of that, and I'm going to fight to get you guys higher wages and to get you health care that your family needs. And my district at this point is literally on fire, okay? And we have got to fix all of this, and a standard politician ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, that is incredibly exciting, and let me just say, this could be huge. The influence that he would have in Congress, I mean, it can't be overstated. This could actually change national discourse for the better, just with him being in Congress. Because we need someone who's going to aggressively confront his colleagues to their faces, both in the Democratic Party and Republican Party, and call them out for using corporate talking points if they don't support Medicare for all. We need someone like Cenk who's not afraid to connect the dots between them and their corporate donors. Like, we need someone who's actually going to fight. And Cenk Uygur, over the years, agree or disagree with him on a number of subjects, he's demonstrated that he would in fact be aggressive and loud in the event he were a member of Congress. And he reiterated that in his announcement. Now, people are responding incredibly positively to this because just within that first 24 hours of his announcement, 1,200 people signed up to volunteer, and he raised almost 300 grand by day 2 from just 10,000 small individual donors. So I think that people realize that there is a tremendous amount of value in Cenk Uygur being a member of Congress. And for him to actually run and win, I mean, can you imagine the response? The establishment would in fact loathe him. They're already backing his opponent in that district, but the establishment would hate him. The Democratic Party would hate him. He would call out Nancy Pelosi. He's been incredibly critical of her. Fox News would focus on him and, as a result, kind of turn him into this media sensation in the same way that they did with AOC. But, you know, the problem with that is Cenk Uygur isn't really like AOC in the sense that he tends to focus on issues like money and politics that are incredibly popular. Like, these are issues that are nonpartisan issues. Both Republicans and Democrats, they believe that money is a corrupting influence in politics. And the way that Cenk Uygur kind of explains how money has corrupted the political process is brilliant, right? The way he articulates that specifically is important. And he explains how, look, if you want the Soros money out, then let's get the Koch money out too. Let's get all the billionaire money and all the money out of politics, generally speaking. So there is immense value in that. And him being in Congress would be amazing. So I chipped in $10 because I think that we need people like him fighting for us. And, you know, it goes without saying, I don't agree with Cenk Uygur on everything. Him and I disagree on Russiagate. I angrily tweeted at him before, admittedly, when he covered the gay baker case. I thought that he was a little bit too kind to the homophobic baker because he said, well, you know, maybe this baker is just principled. He also doesn't do alcohol cakes as well as gay wedding cakes. So I've criticized him before. And on top of that, I think that he does have a different philosophy than I do. He points out, correctly so, I think, that money in politics really is causing enormous political instability. But I don't actually think that money in politics is the root to all evil. I think that capitalism ultimately is the lowest common denominator. It's like a virus, and as a virus would, it corrupted the political process. It turned it into a money-making venture, and it doesn't just corrupt healthcare and education, it corrupts electoral politics as well. So the reason why money in politics is an issue is because we live in a capitalist system where we commodify everything, including politics. But I don't have to align with Cenk on every single issue. He doesn't have to be a democratic socialist to get my endorsement. I want someone who's going to fight for the same policies that I believe in. Now, I have no doubt that Cenk Uygur would do just that. And that's why If he were to get elected, I would be ecstatic, because this is, again, someone that we need in Congress, because we need aggressive people. AOC has explained that it is really difficult once you arrive in Congress because there's immense pressure to conform. Cenk Uygur doesn't need to conform. He already has a job at TYT. But what would make him even more effective is no other member of Congress has a gigantic media apparatus like the Young Turks. So in the event he's pushing for a particular legislative agenda, he can then go on the Young Turks and talk about how there are members of Congress who are not pushing for this because they're bankrolled by a specific industry. And it would be incredibly successful. And more importantly, he speaks out against leadership in a way that other people won't speak out against leadership. So you see people like Pramila Jayapal and even AOC, who are very principled, progressive people, but they are reluctant to criticize leadership. And I get it, right? Because you can be marginalized very easily by someone like Nancy Pelosi, who has the power to strip you of committee assignments like that if you piss her off too much. So I get it, right? You're trying to walk a fine line. You're not trying to, disrupt the beehive, tap it, and get stung. But Cenk Uygur doesn't give a shit. And that's what we need. We need someone who doesn't have a single fuck to give, who will get in there and be a fucking wrecking ball and just get in their faces. That is what we need. And because he'd be so aggressive, I think that the media would be inclined to focus on him because he'd be great for ratings. And all around, this really could change national discourse for the better. So, I think that it's really popular to shit on TYT right now on YouTube and in some progressive spheres. But the fact of the matter is, if you truly are progressive and you want to get these policies passed, you need someone who's going to be relentless, who's going to be an attack dog and crack skulls. That's what's lacking in the progressive movement. We need someone to bully people effectively into passing policies. And if they don't, then I want them to worry about the wrath of Cenk, yelling at them and screaming at them for being corrupt if they don't vote for Medicare for all, for example. So having a Cenk Uygur in Congress during a Bernie Sanders presidency, can you imagine the amount of change that we can push through in a really short span? Like, this is what we need right now. And by the way, before I, get any controversy, I'm not endorsing bullying. I'm just saying we need someone like Cenk to be aggressive and bully the bullies, essentially. Get these corporate clowns to realize that there is going to be ramifications if they choose to keep being complicit as people die without healthcare. If they are going to allow us to have zero purchasing power as millennials because they don't want to do shit with regard to student loan debt cancellation and relief. So we need someone like Cenk. And the fact that he's running is incredibly encouraging. And the response shows that there is a desire, there's a demand for this type of progressive. Someone who is going to get in your face and scream at you potentially if you don't acquiesce. It's exactly what we need. And it's exactly what the Democratic Party establishment is not going to want. Now, they're already backing his opponent. This is kind of an open field. I believe that George Papadopoulos is running. Mike Cernovich is running as well, who is basically alt-light or alt-right. I don't know what he is, but the dude is a clown. But Cenk Uygur has a phenomenal chance, and I would encourage everyone who is wanting policies that are progressive to be passed to back him. Because, I've already said everything. We need someone who's going to be in your face in Congress if you're not going to serve the people. And Cenk will serve the people. So, I'm all for it. Cenk 2020.